Good evening. We'll call the meeting to order. Would you please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Could I have a roll call, please?
Yes. Councilmember Switzer.
Here.
Councilmember Phillips.
Here.
Councilmember Holt.
Here.
Councilmember McCafferty.
Here.
Councilmember Shacker.
Here.
Vice Mayor Grineal.
Here.
Mayor Armstrong.
Here.
And our town attorney is present.
Thank you. Item 2, introductions, presentations, and proclamations. Item A, presentation and update from Brian Sutton, President, and Mark Lipp, Special Events Coordinator with the Chino Valley Flyers in advance of their upcoming contract renewal. Gentlemen, it's all yours.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, members of the council, thank you very much. My name is Brian Sutton, President of the Chino Valley Flyers. Please work. That button's not working. Try that one.
Knocked out the clerk.
Negative function.
How about
How about if I say next?
control for you?
Who are the Chino Valley Flyers? Well, we are the premier Northern Arizona model aircraft club. We operate just outside of town, or just down the road on Perkinsville Road. We've been in continuous operation since 1986, but we moved to our current site in the year 2000. As of 2025, we have 171 members, and these members come from Cordes Junction all the way up to, I believe we have some up in Ash Fork and everywhere in between. We even have some members who come up from Phoenix, and I think we even have one member in California. They're nuts. We're governed by an elected Chino Valley Board of Directors. We are chartered by the Academy of Model Aeronautics, the National Aircraft Hobby Organization. On here it says we are Leader Silver Level Club. I'm happy to announce as of last week we have been promoted to a Gold Level Club. Thank you. We do follow very strict AMA and club safety rules. We do radio control and control line, fixed wing and multi-rotor operations. Fixed wing, we have turbine powered jets, gas, nitro, electric, gliders, airplanes, helicopters, etc. And you can see that our website's down there at the bottom of the flag. And we encourage everybody who has any questions to go to our website and check us out. We have one of the longest paved RC fields in northern Arizona. Recently, we had some visitors, and they announced that they tell me that this is one of the best facilities in Arizona. We're located directly north of the police shooting range on Santa Fe Trail. We have 4 major buildings or cabanas, a small shed, all built and paid for by the Flyers, but all permanent structures are owned by the town per our lease agreement. We are a FRIA, which is an FAA-recognized identification area with the FAA, and we're maintained by the Flyer staff. Just if you have any questions about FRIA, it means that we have a 700-foot ceiling, and there is a notice to airmen about our activities there. Every year, we host the Steve Crow Memorial Air Show, which we do publicize the town. We invite members of the town to come out and join us and watch. And we do have people coming from all over the Quad Cities area to watch this event. Generally have 100 to 150 areas. Last year's Steve Crow was by far the most successful and the highest attended that we've ever seen. We also work with the Chino Valley School District STEM Club, and we do contribute to their projects. This year we're going to be inviting the Regional Pattern and IMAC That's the International Miniature Aerobatic Club, to come out and have a competition at our field. Some of the other activities, we have a combat activity where we chase each other's airplanes around in the sky. We have pylon racing. We have a glider endurance event. We have swap meets on the site where, again, we generally get people coming from all over northern Arizona to attend and participate. We'll have pancake breakfast, and we're probably going to have a potluck this year. And if you go out there just about any day when the weather is good, you could probably find a few of us out there flying. And if you would like to see more information on our schedule, again, you can check our website. Here we see some pictures of some of the events. I think all of these come from not last year, but the year before Steve Crow. And, oh, look, one of my airplanes right there. So I'm open to any questions about us.
Questions?
No, sir.
Larry?
No, sir, but I've seen that F-16 fly. It's bad.
Robert?
That one's not mine, but I wish it was.
You guys look like you have a lot of fun out there.
We have a great deal of fun, and I will say that we really encourage youth to come out. I'm a big fan of what's called STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, art, and math. I've taught that for years. I'm a retired teacher. That's one of my to me, is one of the most important things, and we really support that amongst the youth.
We're glad to have you in Chino.
Sherry?
No.
John?
Just expensive hobby to get as good as some of those people are. And it's
Especially when
impressive.
you're as bad a pilot as I am. Fortunately, I inherited a lot of money.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate you coming. Rick Nichols, thank you for providing with the newsletter to me. I really appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Okay. Item B, presentation on America's 250th anniversary and Route 66 centennial. Town participation, planning and branding, and proposed logo and tagline to be consistently across town materials and events for the remainder of the year. Madam Thomas.
Well, hello there. Let me get my slides up real quick. I'm gonna guess it still doesn't work, so we'll just ask Miss Deskins to help me out a little bit. Okay, and just hold on. How's everyone this evening? It works. All right, there we go. Thank you, IT. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, staff, and members of our audience. Thank you for the opportunity to share how the town will participate in the celebration of America's 250th anniversary and the Route 66 centennial. When we first began discussing this last fall, our goal was to find a way to meaningfully recognize both milestones without creating an additional financial burden to the town. We asked ourselves, how can we incorporate these historic celebrations into our daily work and existing events in a thoughtful and visible way? The primary idea that emerged was the creation of a commemorative logo and tagline that celebrate the town of Chino Valley, America's 250th, and Route 66's 100th anniversary. This logo and tagline, which you can see on the screen, will be used on all town printed materials, marketing pieces, emails, and event promotions through the end of the calendar year to ensure consistent recognition of these historic occasions. This is just an example of what letterhead will look like with our logo on it. And then, of course, our email signature line that we will be putting out tomorrow for all staff. In addition, we wanted to highlight the many events taking place throughout northern Arizona. In front of you, you'll find a brochure prepared by our recreation staff showcasing several of the larger regional celebrations. You'll notice that many of the America 250 events are centered around July 4th. As you know, the town of Chino Valley has historically designated its primary event funding toward Territorial Days rather than hosting a 4th of July fireworks celebration. We do this intentionally to both support our signature community event and to ensure there are adequate regional resources for neighboring communities that host firework displays. This year, as we have in past years, we will host our free community open swim at the pool, branded this year as Red, White, and Splash. In addition, we do not host a fireworks event, we felt it would be meaningful to kick off the Independence Day season with a new event, Stars, Stripes, and Syrup, a community pancake breakfast. We are currently in discussions with several local groups about partnering to host and operate that event. On the back of the brochure, you'll find contact, so I'm not doing these slides any justice. For those of you in the audience, there you go. And on the back of the brochure, you'll find the contact information for Northern Arizona communities hosting America 250 and Route 66 events. The final listing is for the state of Arizona's official America 250 committee, where residents can view a comprehensive calendar of celebrations happening statewide. I'd also like to take a moment to recognize the key staff members who contributed to the project. Susan Palmer designed and created the commemorative logo. Morgan Heiner researched the regional event information and compiled the brochure you have in front of you. And finally, your town leadership team participated in selecting the official tagline. This was truly a collaborative effort, and I appreciate the time, creativity, and teamwork that went into making this initiative possible. We are excited about the opportunity to recognize these two historic milestones in a way that is fiscally responsible, collaborative, and community-centered. I'm happy to answer any questions or address any concerns.
Questions, Bob?
No, sure.
Larry?
Love it. Love the logo. If I can make a suggestion,
Please.
go over to Tom's, have him make a bunch of patches for that, and let's sell them and finance the pool with it.
Oh, okay. Right on
A lot
it.
of patches.
Robert?
No, fantastic, love it.
Thanks, Jerry? John?
Good. I like the logo. You did a good job.
Thank you.
Eric?
Thank you.
I'm looking at the 3rd of July. How can we get involved in the Whiskey, Women, and Wine fundraiser?
I will find that information out for you
Okay,
and get it to you. I'll even provide a vehicle to get you there.
thank you. Great little pencil.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Better watch that women's side.
I ducked when I said it. Item 3, call to the public.
Call to the public is an opportunity for the public to address the council on any issue within the jurisdiction of the council. Public comment is at the discretion of the council and not required by law. Individuals are limited to speak for 3 minutes. Yielding of time will not be permitted. The total time for call to the public may be up to 30 minutes per meeting. Council action taken as a result of public comment on items not on the agenda will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, scheduling the matter for further consideration and decision at a later date, or responding to criticism. Public comment is invited and encouraged. However, personal attacks on individuals is not appropriate. Disrespectful behavior will not be tolerated. This includes loud outbursts, profanity, and disruptive discussions among our audience. I did not have any comment cards filed this evening.
Thank you very much. Item 4, current events summaries and reports. Status reports by mayor and council regarding current events. Bob?
No, sir.
Larry?
No, sir.
Robert?
No, nope.
Sherry? No. John?
Just one. You all know about it, but I think it's incredible that our men and women hockey team, national hockey team, smacked down Canada. That's all I have.
No.
Finally, I get a chance to steal somebody's thunder. The Arizona Women's Network. Is that better? Yeah. It's a little red button I forgot. The Arizona Women's Network recently awarded our town manager, Terry Denby, Woman of the Year.
Didn't make me get emotional. I just want to say what I said to them. It has to do, being a good leader is all about the people you work with. Am I not on? Being a good leader is really predicated on working with great people, and we have an amazing town council that is really dedicated to the best interests of the public, and I work with amazing leaders and dedicated public servants from the top to the bottom. So I feel truly honored and humbled.
Thank you. Item B, status report by the town manager, Terry Denby, regarding town accomplishments and Curry or upcoming projects. I told you I got to steal somebody's thunder.
Catch me off guard. Doesn't do that often, but he did that time. Okay. I only have a couple things tonight, But we do want to, the CDBG is the Community Development Block Grant Program. And that comes around, I think, every 3 years, we get an opportunity to get that money. And we put up the last project, our senior center renovation was funded by that in addition to town funds, which was an incredible project for a key part of our community that our seniors rely on. So we're going to be into the next process, and it always starts with call for projects. So the town will put in projects that we think would be worthy, but the citizens in the community are welcome to do so as well for that money. So we will have a public hearing on Monday, March 9th, 4 to 5 p.m. here, and it's for discuss possibilities for projects for the $300 or $300,000 grant opportunity. So if you want to come and hear what those projects are, we will, after the hearing, we will be coming back to council to vote to support one of those projects. So, and then also on that, we've talked before, we're very fortunate to have someone on our staff that now is a great grant funder, and we've announced some of those. We just got word today that we have an exciting new grant that we just got, but we can't tell you anything yet. They won't let us because they want to do a PR campaign and actually a town event to announce it. So, just giving you a tickler, there's more to come.
Thank you. Item 5, consent agenda. Would anyone like to remove an item from the consent agenda? Bob?
No, sir.
Larry?
No, sir.
Robert?
No, sir.
Sherry?
No.
John?
No.
Eric?
No.
I will entertain a motion.
Okay, I make a motion, we approve consent agenda as item A, B, C, D, and E.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None heard. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Item B, C, D, and E are taken care of. Item 6, action items. Item A, consideration and possible action on resolution 2026-1302 for a conditional use permit, CUP 2025-06, to allow for the construction of a freestanding electronic message center sign at the Ace Hardware Store located at 1395 South State Route 89, Chino Valley, Arizona, 86323. Jessica.
We haven't seen her in a while.
Thank you, Mayor Armstrong, Vice Mayor, and members of the council. Again, Jessica Berrigan, Senior Planner for Development Services. The request tonight is brought to you as, bringing up the presentation first. So as stated, is for an electronic, excuse me, message center, EMC sign. The current zoning for, in front of you is CH. The surrounding zoning is CH and CL with the eastern portion facing the green space of the Tract A for Parkside Village subdivision. The request was submitted by Signs Plus on behalf of Sheets Investment for the freestanding sign. It does meet all the criteria in section 4.21.25, which requires the item to be brought to you today. It also meets all the criteria under section 1.9.3 of the conditional use permit. It exceeds the minimum setbacks from the road along the highway to the sign is 6 feet. It exceeds it by 3 feet. And the minimum, and there is an existing sign there that will be demolished as part of the scope. The proposal in front of you shows that the proposed height goes up to 13 feet. The maximum allowed in the code is 14, so it meets that criteria. The signage square footage is 32 square feet. The minimum clearance from the ground level to the panel is approximately 8 feet. They did provide some certification for dark sky compliance on their new technology. I don't have to go all over those details, but some of the highlights are to turn off the lights by end of business hours or by 11 p.m., whichever is sooner, 6-second display, no flashing, and ambient sensor lighting. So on February 3rd, 2026, the Planning Commission forwarded a recommendation for approval, and that was approved with a 7-0 vote. And with that, staff does recommend that the council hold first a public hearing and then approve resolution 2026-1302, approving conditional use permit CUP 2025-06, I'm sorry, 2026-06, as presented with the conditions of approval in attachment A in your packet. I'm available for any questions. The applicant is here. They don't have anything to add. They don't wish to speak, unless you have any specific questions.
Questions for staff? Bob?
Nope.
Larry?
No, man.
Robert?
No, sir.
Jerry?
No.
John?
No.
Eric?
No.
All right, thank you very much. Does
Thank you.
anybody have any questions for the applicant? They'd rather not speak, but if you have a specific question, we'll ask.
No, sir.
Thank you. Larry?
No.
Robert?
No, sir.
Jerry?
No.
John? Eric?
No.
Seeing none, I will open the public hearing. Is there anybody that would like to comment on this item? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing, and I will entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we approve resolution 2026-1302 for conditional use permit, CUP 2025-06, to allow for the construction of a freestanding electronic message center sign at the Ace Hardware Store located at 1395 South State Route 89, Chino, Arizona 86323.
All in favor?
Aye.
You need a second. I'll
I need a
second.
I'm sorry, got ahead of myself. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Right here.
John? Motion carries. Thank you unanimously. Prior to item B, I will entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we go into executive session.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We will be in executive session. We will return. Thank you all for your patience. We are back in. Item B, consideration and possible action on ordinance 2026-965 to rezone approximately 390 acres of land located generally east of the intersection of East Perkinsville Road and Forest Service Road 318A, Chino Valley, Arizona, from single-family residential 2-acre minimum to agricultural residential 36-acre minimum. Lori and Will.
Alrighty. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council. Will Dingy, Assistant Director, Development Services. Lori Lineberry. Alrighty, here we are, continuation from last night for Town Council deliberation and action. We gave the bulk of our presentation last night. However, there are a couple points we do want to address specifically that came up as part of the public portion. And so really want to talk through specifically the claim that came out about the text message that I had sent to an ERAU or an Embry representative. It was referenced and characterized as an attempt to withhold information. So on the map, on the screen in front of you is a map that was referenced in the message depicting aircraft entering and exiting the Perkins touch and go pattern by flying over Prescott Valley North, specifically focused on here. Through coordination with the FAA and Prescott Regional Airport, the depiction was determined to be inaccurate. That corridor was not viable and should not have been shown. On January 5th, staff identified the need for an updated accurate flight path graphic, and a meeting was held with the applicant team to discuss the correct map. The applicant indicated that they would have an updated version prepared. Following that meeting, I sent a text to a representative with ERAU, reiterating that the display was inaccurate. The flight path would be, displaying the inaccurate flight path would be detrimental because it would result in misinformation being presented publicly. The purpose of that communication was not to suppress information. It was to ensure that incorrect information was not shown. So on the screen before you is the text message that, the whole chain that went out as part of the public records request. I'm just going to kind of read through it, summarizing it here. Wrapping up a meeting with Scott and Heidi. If you haven't been asked yet, tomorrow, please excuse my spelling on this. Tomorrow it would be detrimental to have an exhibit that shows the anticipated flight path from Prescott to Chino. Big opposition from the county folks south of Chino Valley with the belief that all air traffic to and from go over their homes. The response from Embry, just sent a graphic to Scott. Think I covered no increases for northern PV area. Is that the area of concern? Yes, Mingus Estates, Coyote Springs, Paquito Valley. Okay, just updated Scott. There's no increase in air traffic or noise for these communities. I'm sure he'll share with Heidi, who will get it to you tomorrow. The resulting graphic is on the screen before you tonight. It shows, the result of that coordination is in the updated map now displayed on your screen, which reflects the correctly oriented entry and exit points and do not route air traffic over specifically Prescott Valley North. The screenshot that circulated publicly reflects only a portion of that text exchange without the surrounding context of that meeting, the FAA coordination, or the corrected map that followed. The outcome of that communication was more accurate information to the public, not less. And then just on the screen is essentially one of the posts that ended up being circulated on social media, taking the message itself out of context.
Thank you, Will.
During last night's public hearing, concerns were raised suggesting that staff engages in private arrangements with developers outside of the public process. Engagement with major landowners during zoning and general plan drafting is standard planning practice. It occurred during the 2040 general plan process. For example, prior to the plan being forwarded to the voters, staff met with the Del Rio Springs landowners regarding their approximately 4,000 acres north of town. I think some of you probably know that very intense residential area, and we heard from many, many residents that they were not happy with that existing plan. Those discussions were documented and part of evaluating the land use direction for the general plan. Ultimately, the higher density development concepts were set aside with cooperation of the property owner in favor of lower intensity uses more consistent with community goals. Similarly, during the AR 36 evaluation, which began as part of the implementation of the ranch agricultural designation. And when we were addressing utility scale solar in the general plan, staff met with multiple large landowners across western Chino Valley, including Perkins Ranch, Del Rio Springs representatives, Arizona Eco Development, and Running W Ranch. These meetings were not approvals. They were part of evaluating how a zoning district would function across a large acreage ownership patterns. On April 7th, 2025, Tom Perkins called. He said that he was in town with some Embry-Riddle representatives and asked to meet with us. He shared that he would like us to consider adding airfield and related uses to the AR36 district, which we were currently drafting. Will and I discussed that idea and felt that the use could fit if it was a conditional use, not a permitted use, but a conditional use, because we knew that there could be characteristics with such a use that might not fit in every place that someone wanted to choose it. That's why you do a conditional use. I emailed Terry the next day and told her about the meeting. The zoning work group met soon after that, and we brought the draft AR36 ordinance to that group to discuss all of the proposed uses, including the airfield use. During much discussion, uses were added and deleted by that group. The draft then went to the Planning and Zoning Commission to a study session for review, discussion, and suggested changes. Next, the Planning Commission held a public hearing and after discussion recommended approval of the draft ordinance to the Town Council. The final step took the draft ordinance to Town Council for yet another public hearing and decision on June 24th, 2025. The next day, I emailed Tom Perkins and Embry and informed them that the AR36 had been approved with the airfield use by Town Council and that they could move forward with a proposed project. They followed our process for pre-application meetings and submittal for Planning Commission consideration. On July 9th, we gave an update to the zoning work group when we met with them the next time.
All righty, I'm going to skip this one here. Tonight, too, we do have a modification to the resolution. This was after consultation with the town attorney regarding to specifically the conditional use permit, I guess it's condition number 15. That was the condition that talked specifically about having the Planning Commission through a special study session on development agreements. We are recommending that that be striked, or excuse me, the attorney is recommending that that be striked. And then on number 16, the portion with review and comments for consideration from the commission be struck as well on 16. Stricken, removed. So then earlier this month, Planning and Zoning Commission did hear this item. It did forward a recommendation for both the rezone and the resolution. Both votes were a 5-2. And then last night we had our public hearing for the Planning Commission, or excuse me, for the Town Council. And then the Planning Commission and recommendation this evening before you is to approve ordinance number 2026-965 and resolution 2026-1303. As amended during this hearing. Questions, discussion, go ahead and open that up. We do have the applicant, their team here. Carry away.
Questions, Bob?
Yeah, I have a couple questions. So, the housing impact versus the housing impact for zone change requested. Zone change ZC 2025-03 to rezone 390 acres from single-family residential, 2-acre minimum, to agricultural residential, 36-acre minimum. So on page 157, it clearly defined non-residential nature and phase development for Perkins Ranch Airfield and Aviation Innovation Campus. So it's saying it's non-residential. AR36 is saying agricultural residential. Could you clarify that?
So I believe it is the housing impact statement, correct? It's like 4 or 3 boxes that talk about the, I believe it's
Yeah, it's the middle box.
Yeah. So you're asking to clarify the applicant's submission?
I'm asking, it says it clearly defined non-residential. So am I missing something? Can you clarify that? Because you're asking for agricultural residential 36, and this is saying non-residential.
The zoning district has some residential uses and it has some uses that are not residential. And that's what's part of the permitted and conditional uses in that district with that title. We are currently in the process of updating our zoning code. It does not match our general plan and does not implement our general plan the way our general plan is laid out for us. And so we will be making those kinds of corrections with this new zoning code that we are updating.
So you're going to make the correction after this?
Yes.
Okay, and then it says fiscal impact. The proposed zoning change does not in itself generate revenue. It does create the potential for future taxable activity dependent on how the property is ultimately developed. Can you give me some example on where this income is going to be? And are there going to be taxes or on leases or?
So with the initial, with the initial phase 1 through the construction, there will be construction tax opportunities as part of that. But then future phases, the 2, 3, and 4 would be projected to have the most benefit as part of that.
Okay, I've asked the financial lady to give me an example, and I haven't gotten that. So maybe Katie can come up here.
We'll go get her. She's just across the hall. She didn't want to take up the seat.
Because I hear her going back and forth on how much everybody's making but the town, but I've never seen any
I will
example on how anything is done and
Okay. Yeah.
where the money is.
And I know we had a request for that, for doing a fiscal impact study, but it's all unknown. We would do those at each phase of the process, but he wants to talk about what are the potential that could happen and what types of things might we, okay.
Because it's been said that the airstrip is going to be $15 million. And I've asked you before about how you come up with something, and I've not gotten any answers.
So with prime contracting, any construction that would be done would be considered prime contracting because it's in the town limits. It would be the full contract cost, and then there's a calculation based on the total contract cost, then there's exemptions and reductions of that gross amount. And then the tax rate is 4% for construction here. And that's just the town's portion. So then there's state and county tax on top of that as well. So it's a 35% reduction of gross receipts. So 65% of that amount of that 15 million would be potential construction sales tax revenue. The 4% of that amount would come into the town. It depends on the total gross amount of the contract, and that's why it's unknown at this time, and we wouldn't know that until the project's actually underway. And because the town isn't providing financial resources for it, we wouldn't see all of those figures until it goes through for the actual permits for the construction. And then following the construction piece, depending on how the future phases are developed, it would be evaluated at each phase. But if there's lease revenues, we do tax lease revenues for the town as well. So there's TPT that goes to the town on lease transactions. Again, that's a private party transaction, so we wouldn't be able to tell you an amount with that because it's not our information at this point. And then further revenues could come in potential phases if there's fuel sales ever, if there's if there's R&D, if there's cafeterias, if there's different types of development and materials that are purchased, the sales tax would go to the town for those types of on-site activities. Or if there's sales directly from there to other places in Arizona that aren't for resale. So there's a lot of potential, but to quantify it at this point would not be possible.
And what about lease?
We do tax commercial leases in the town, so it would depend on what the actual lease amount would be to the different entities.
Okay, and we don't know what any amount is for the lease
No.
that Emery is?
No,
paying
because that's a
Perkins?
private transaction.
Okay,
So we would get the tax revenue, but even with that, even once we receive those things, it's confidential taxpayer information.
Okay.
So it just allows for the potential of revenue to be generated from the zoning and CUP action, but it doesn't generate any revenue from the action itself.
thank you, Katie.
Yes, absolutely.
And then I have one more question. There's supposed to be a lot split before any zoning or CUP hearing? Have you done that?
It has been completed and approved. It is ready to be recorded pending tonight.
Has that gone through council?
It does not go to council, it's administrative. A lot split, so that's a minor land action. It's not a plat. It's just a map, essentially, in terms of surveys. Subdivisions themselves, those are where we get into state statute that would come to you. The last item tonight, we'll be changing that. Overall, sorry not to get ahead of ourselves, so that is a lot split or a land division like this is not something that comes to council for approval.
And you said it's going to come to the end of this thing?
So the final item tonight.
We have a text amendment to talk to you about what the state has gifted us with for approvals for subdivisions.
Which is
But that's
not
not
what
this
this
item.
is.
It'll be in a couple items.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm done.
Larry?
I'm not gonna be as short, I'm sorry to say.
Please don't.
This one's for you, Will. Can you bring back the third graphic that you have in your presentation?
From last night?
No, tonight, the
From
one you
tonight.
just showed, with the overlay maps between Prescott and the proposed strip. Okay, down in the lower right as I'm facing this, I take it the black dots are all the homes in the Paquito Valley area?
Buildings that are greater than 800 square feet, correct?
Correct. So right now, that one section of blue that overlays, those homes are significantly closer to Love Field than they are to the proposed strip, aren't they?
I would agree.
Okay. Would you also agree then that the noise, if there were the existing planes going every day right now to do their touch and goes on Love Field, will create more noise, likely create more noise than if the planes are moved to the other strip for their touch and goes?
If the noise is directly related to the distance from the Prescott Airport, absolutely.
Correct. So in actuality, if we move those flights over to the proposed field, there'd be less of a noise impact.
If the distance increases, yes, sir.
Okay. I've got a lot of questions here, and some of them are Emery Riddle, and some of them are for Mr. Perkins. Are any part of these funds being funded through federal grants or through AIP grants?
I can answer that. Yeah, there's none, but this is
Okay.
private university.
So there's no requirement that the airport would have to be open to public in any way, shape, or form?
Not to my understanding. It might be
Okay.
best for you guys.
Do we have any anticipation, if this was to be approved, when we might see completion of phase one? Are we talking 1 year, 5 years? Do we have any guesses?
Tom, you want to?
If we can, since we're handling these separately, can we keep our questions right down strictly to the zone change? And then we retire to the others' questions on the CUP.
Okay.
Thank you.
If all we're doing is a zone change, I think that might be all we've got. Robert?
I don't have any questions on the zone change.
Jerry?
No.
John?
No questions on the zone change.
Eric? Okay, thank you very much. Does anybody have questions for the applicant at this point? Other than me, Madam Perkins, could I ask you to come up to the podium, please? I do have questions for you as the leader of the pack.
here I am.
Thank you for coming up. The question has arisen that there's 290 acres that are going to be for this project. What is the anticipation of doing with the rest of the property?
390.
390, pardon me.
What are we going to do with the rest of the property?
Yes, ma'am, please.
We're going to ranch.
Question answered.
We're going to take care of antelope.
Anything you want to expand on that, please do so. It's your time to speak.
I just think this is the greatest opportunity for Chino Valley, for their future, for the future of our children and the future of our beautiful town. We have no problems at all with Embry-Riddle. They're the greatest university in the world. It's a private airstrip, a touch and go. It is not going to be a full-blown airport. And to me, the noise is minimal. My house is very close. When I was raising my kids and there was airplanes in the sky, they would run out and look up at them and just be amazed. I'm even amazed at them today. I do not think they're going to be noisy. They are not going to hurt animals. They're certainly not going to hurt our cows. I think it would be a blessing to the town to have it.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Appreciate your comments. Okay, on the zone change, is there any other discussion that council members would like to have on it? Bob?
No, sir.
Larry?
No, sir.
Robert?
No.
Sherry?
I didn't know whether it was CUP or.
John?
I do not.
Eric?
We're only talking zoning right now.
Zone change.
No.
Okay, on item 6B, the zone change, prior to a roll call vote, I will give you the opportunity to explain why or how or who to explain your vote if you would like to. Larry, Bob, pardon me.
I vote no.
Larry,
Are we taking a vote now?
this is not the actual vote, this is to explain
No, not
why.
at this time. I'll save this for the second half.
Robert,
No, sir.
Sherry,
No.
John,
I'll wait for the second item.
Eric,
I just say right now, I want to thank everyone for last night. You guys were all great, whether you were for it or against it. All the emails and inputs I took into consideration. And I've been in this area my entire life. My kids went to school here. They graduated Chino High. This is my community. My family's here. They got houses here. We got houses here. We're here for the long run. And the potentials I've seen are economic development and diversification. An airstrip could significantly impact Chino, attract investments and diversify our local economy, tax base, future growth planning, and prosperity rights. The Perkins can do whatever they want, make as much money as they want with their land. It's nobody's business. But also the concerns I've heard and considered are traffic and infrastructure, the noise and stress and quality of life for many of our residents, especially for our veterans. I know the anxiety and the stress, especially for the rural lifestyle. Environmental health impacts, dust, pollution, and the hours of the operations. Till 11:30 at night, that's kind of long. Assurance of public benefit, and,
That's the cut,
you know,
the zone.
I'm getting there, Bob. So either way, whichever way it goes, I just hope we can all be neighbors and all respect each other. And, you know, some of the comments I've seen on Facebook with against the Perkins family is uncalled for. Let's just be good neighbors, and we're going to vote here tonight. Thank you.
thank you very much. I appreciate everybody's input. I have no comment this time. I will entertain a motion.
Okay. My recommended action, I make a motion to deny action item ordinance 2026-965 for zone change ZC 2025-03 to rezone approximately 390 acres of land located generally east of the intersection of East Perkinsville Road and Forest Service Road 318A in Chino Valley, Arizona, from single-family residential 2-acre minimum to agricultural residential 36-acre
Po-
minimum.
Point of clarification, you're recommending deny?
Deny.
Yes. The motion on the floor is to deny the zone change.
Okay.
This will be a roll call vote.
Okay, it's just for clarification.
Second.
So if, okay, yeah. I want to make sure we're clear. If we're saying yes to this, we're saying no to the zone change.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Switzer,
No.
Councilmember Holt,
No.
Councilmember Shacker,
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips,
No.
Councilmember McCafferty,
No.
Vice Mayor Grineal,
Yes.
Mayor Armstrong,
No.
5-2.
The motion is approved,
The
5-2.
The motion is
The
not.
motion is,
Correct. The
the motion
motion
is denied?
does not
Because we were
pass
rejecting
as.
We were rejecting it. Gotcha.
Correct.
Okay. Now, is there anyone who would like to make a second motion on this item?
Mr. Mayor, make a motion for action on ordinance 2026-965 to rezone approximately 390 acres of land located generally east of the intersection of East Perkinsville Road and Forest Service Road 318A in Chino Valley, Arizona, from single-family residential 2-acre minimum to agricultural residential 36-acre minimum.
Can I clarify that that is to approve this
To
item?
approve.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
You do. Second.
I have a second. This also will be a roll call vote.
Councilmember Switzer,
Yes.
Councilmember Holt,
Yes.
Councilmember Shacker,
No.
Councilmember Phillips,
Yes.
Councilmember McCafferty,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Grineal,
No.
Mayor Armstrong,
Yes.
5-2. That one passes.
5-2, that motion is approved. Thank you very much. Item C, consideration and possible action on resolution number 2026-1303 for conditional use permit 2025-05, establishing a footprint of all phases for a privately owned and operated airfield and associated uses of approximately 390 acres located generally east of the intersection of East Perkinsville Road and Forest Service Road 318A, Chino Valley, Arizona 86323.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council. Presentation was pretty much encapsulated with the last night and then previously, so I will go ahead and just say let's go into questions and discussion.
Questions? Bob?
Yeah, I have some.
Sure.
Okay, so on January 6th, the P and Z meeting, Commissioner Merritt stated that he only wanted fixed wings, the 2 aircraft that Emory is using now for training. And from what I've been seeing, so there's going to be a maybe 6,000-foot runway that's going to accommodate jets. And there's also been talk about having helicopters.
So I would say that, yeah, Embry, and that would be better appropriately answered through the applicant or Embry.
Okay, but where, I haven't seen that change in here in the cup. So, and we're talking about all 4 phases here, right?
Correct, yes, sir. So it is the footprint, the uses for all 4 phases 1 through 4, and then each phase will have to return back to council for a development agreement. So if this is approved, it does not automatically begin construction for those.
Okay, so on page 135, it says maximum lot coverage, 15%,
Yes, sir.
correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so 15% of 390 acres is 58.5 acres.
Of buildings, yes,
Your
sir.
airfield is 366.
366 for the
Acres.
footprint, correct. So lot coverage within the town of Chino Valley is for buildings. So we have, I believe you said 58 acres roughly for building construction on site.
Okay, this is covering the 390 acres, okay?
You are correct.
Okay, so how do you get 366 acres if you can only have 15% of the property?
So the way we calculate lot coverage here in Chino Valley, it's been backwards the entire time I've been here, but for the 8 years, it's always been on buildings itself, not for the, the ground cover, the roads, or anything like that. It would be for the actual building itself.
Okay, how many acres is the actual buildings?
We won't know until each phase comes back for development.
So,
They will have to stay under that 15 technically, yes.
so interesting. It's kind of like vote for it before you know what's in it. Okay, so then phase one, it says 5,000 feet, not to exceed 6,000 feet. Taxiway aprons with tie downs. And that changed from the original cup, P and Z, of 5,000 foot airstrip only. Okay, then it's got 2 tie downs, or phase 2, 2 tie downs with no mention of aprons. Page 105. Excuse me? Do you have an issue there, Sherry?
No, my phone went off.
Okay. Put it on silent, please. So then it has phase 2 tie downs with no mention of aprons. Phase 1 consists of runway, taxiway, apron, associated aviation facility necessary to support Embry-Riddle flight training operation. What's accurate here? There's 3 different descriptions on what phase 1 is.
For what phase 1, we'll go to the resolution itself. Sorry. Nice scroll.
I got page 135. I got page 61, 62, and 63 is where this is taken from.
So what would be accurate for you to this evening is number 5 of the resolution itself. The CUP consists of 4 phases of site improvements. Phase 1, the 5,000-foot airstrip, not to exceed 6,000, taxiway and apron with tie downs. Phase 2, fire station, classroom, hangar. Phase 3, aviation-related industrial assembly warehouse space. Phase 4, aviation-related commercial office space, including a possible fixed-base operation. However, there is a condition in here that that any of these can come back essentially out of order once phase 1 is there. So if there's a development agreement for phase 3, or well, it'd have to be 2 ultimately with any sort of fire protection needed. But if 4 wanted to come before 3, that would come for council for consideration.
So I maybe you just need to clarify this. What I'm reading is on page 105, okay? And it says that runway, taxiway, apron, associated aviation facilities necessary to support Embry-Riddle flight training operations. There's 3 different phase 1s here, and you didn't say the last one.
The last one. So it's on the
Page 105.
Yeah, right here. 105 of the
Of the
total.
419 pages that I read, yeah.
So can you, Councilmember Shacker, can you please show? Okay, so as
You need
described
to
in the
see
okay,
page
I understand.
105? I got it here.
No, I got it here. Sure.
Okay.
So as described in the applicant's material, phase 1 consists of the runway, taxiway, apron, and associated aviation facilities necessary to support Embry-Riddle's flight training operations. Yes, sir. So that's a descriptor of what's occurring.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'll show you page 105. I know you guys go differently. Is that what he just read? He reads fast,
Yes.
so.
Oh, yes, this is the one he just read.
So where do we find
You
this?
just read the same thing.
I think.
So this one here, page 61, is that what this one is?
Page 91, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
91.
91, no, this is 105.
Oh, down here, I see it. I can't see that far away. Let me see if I can just-
'Cause what
Okay.
I'm seeing is three
Yep.
different examples of phase one. And I'd like to know which one we're gonna follow.
So it would be the one that is in the resolution itself.
These were all in there.
Not in the resolution, no. sir.
They were all in the packet.
In the
that I
packet,
read.
yes, sir, absolutely. As this goes to the public hearing, the item evolves. Ultimately, conditions are added. And so what is on the table that the commission forwarded to town council is the resolution number that I read off.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think, Dick, I see what you're saying. So in this text, it says associated facilities, where in actual resolution,
Yeah.
it is just the title. Yes.
Okay, then I want to ask you about this CAFMA.
Okay.
Okay, so you know I've been going back and forth with Weeks on the chief, both chiefs and the lady on the board. When did you find out this information about CAFMA that you announced last night?
With it not being in the fire district?
That there was going to be a contract and that the town was not going to be responsible for any taxes?
So it was within the last 2 weeks.
You found out in the last 2 weeks, and we just found out last night.
You are correct, yes, sir.
Well, that's not acceptable. So, how's the contract gonna read? How long is it gonna be for? Is it gonna come back on the town after a year? What's the information on the contract?
So the contract will be part of the development agreement that comes if this item is approved. So it will come before council. As part of that, there's a stipulation in there that talks about ensuring fire coverage is part of the development agreement that would return to council for approval.
So it's just gonna be a contract. Are they gonna build a fire department on the airstrip?
That would be dependent upon what their contract works out.
Isn't it?
Correct.
Vote and then find out, right? This is getting interesting. Okay,
May
so
I-
we have no idea, because one of the stipulations of the CUP was that a fire department, a fire building gets built on phase one.
Phase two.
The original was phase one.
Never
Be-
was in phase
Before any building was built, the fire department was supposed to be there.
There is no buildings in phase one.
Okay, so I'm talking with Will right now, okay? So I don't need any advice from the other end. So, is there not gonna be a fire department then?
Will there not be a fire department specifically for the fire station?
Built on the airstrip?
So I believe the intention is to have a building on site to house any apparatus needs or equipment needed for the facility itself.
That's the intention.
Correct.
But what is there gonna be? Because, okay, so phase one is gonna have an airstrip,
Yes, sir.
okay? And I find it strange that nobody cares about the fire department being there until buildings are put up.
So they
I would find it to where you think you'd have a fire department first for life, not buildings.
So that is why they will be contracted specifically as part of phase one to ensure CAFMA coverage privately with the airfield specifically.
From existing fire departments.
Correct. Much like
Okay. Do you-
Gulch and Buddhist and the Haystack Ranches have that private contract in place.
What's the time, we'll say, fire truck to leave from 3 North?
Couldn't tell you, sir.
Couldn't tell me. It's interesting that that's not been checked. You know, to me, that's an issue. That's life.
Understood.
I don't care about a building. So I've been told that by CAFMA, that there's going to be a trailer with suppression thing on it in case there's a fire. That's it?
I
there-
can't speak for CAFMA.
Maybe I can ask the Embry person or Tom. You said that there's going to be part-time people there? Are they going to be authorized and registered and everything to
Sir.
handle this?
Councilman. Kind of the genesis of where all this started is when I first came up to discuss with staff about the airfield. They had the engineers there. There was a fire marshal there, I think is his title, from Chino Valley District.
Daryl?
I think so. He
It was.
seemed like a nice guy.
It was Daryl.
During the discussion, he said that he wanted to have a fire station built at the facility if it was approved by you. And I made at that time a concession that we would gift the land for a fire station.
Correct.
As the project moved forward, we went to the Planning and Zoning Working Group. And sir, I think it was you that brought up that Chino Valley doesn't have the money to build the fire station. So I made the second concession and said I would build the fire station.
That's right.
Okay, at that point, then the argument came that it wasn't being staffed. It would have to be staffed by CAFMA, and they asked me, why isn't the Perkins family staffing it? And my response was, when we were incorporated into the town, part of the agreement in our pre-annexation agreement is that fire protection would be provided on the land that was incorporated into the town. So the argument went back and forth about that, and then it came to a point where they said, would you pay for a contract with CAFMA to have services out there? Again, I said, yes, we would pay to have them cover us from existing CAFMA, because the CAFMA chief said that he didn't have any intentions of staffing a fire department out at the airfield. So I did a little bit of research. In the U.S., there's 20,000 airfields and heliports within the U.S. Out of those, there's 513 that have fire stations. That's 2.5%. I've been an instructor pilot for 40 years. I've landed at thousands of airfields across the U.S., and I rarely see a fire station. The only requirement from the federal government for having a fire station is if it has an FAA control tower, it must have a fire station dedicated to that airfield. This is a private airfield with private training going on, so it's not required to have it. I understand your loss of life if there was an accident, and I understand that completely. But the only thing I can tell you is we will pay for CAFMA services to cover the airfield during the duration of this project, if approved, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
For your answer. And so basically, you're good, everybody's good with the pilots coming in and doing their touch and goes, and no emergency thing available except for maybe 25 minutes is what it would take?
Say one more thing.
Sure.
So it was brought up last night that these are students that are training. It made it sound like the students are the only ones in the aircraft during this training. That is incorrect. Every student has an instructor pilot with the student that's doing the touch and goes. There's no solo students out there doing touch and goes. So is there experience in the cockpit? Absolutely, there is. Is there a possibility of a crash? Always. There were a couple of them during a bad night about a month ago, I think, a helicopter in Flagstaff and a plane that crashed on final coming into the Prescott Airport.
Quito Valley.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So is aviation dangerous? I've been an aviator since I was 23 years old. There are inherent dangers with it, but there's inherent dangers with driving also. And I think your fire department rolls a lot more for car crashes on 89 than they ever do for crashes,
Okay.
aircraft crashes.
We're talking about the airport now. Thank you, Tom.
Okay, sir.
So, all right, I'm definitely not good with this whole CAFMA thing changing. And I'm not very happy that you knew it for 2 weeks. And I've had conversations with you, and I've had conversations with Terry, and nobody's told me of the change. So it's just quite aggravating. I want you to know that. Okay, we can move on. Let's see. So you have made a comment from a land use compatibility standpoint. This supports staff conclusions that the Perkins Ranch location presents fewer conflicts with existing development than other communities where aviations already occur. So to me, it sounds like you're saying that the staff supports the Perkins Ranch location over another city or town to avoid conflicts. Why is the staff concerned about other cities and stuff? Because we're talking about the Chino Airport
Absolutely.
District. And those were already airports that were developed. This is a new airport. So I have an issue with the word conflict on there. I mean, I think there was over 300 people last night. So there's a lot of conflict with this issue.
Fair enough, absolutely.
And you saying that is kind of lightly, and I don't understand why you've said something like that.
So thank you, Councilmember. And so in response to why we talked about outside of this project, we're talking, I believe it was Seligman, Baghdad, and Cottonwood. That was in direct response to public comments. There were discussions, there were comments made specifically of why does this place, or why does this proposal not locate, or why does Embry-Riddle not locate their touch-and-go operations solely on some of the other existing facilities in Yavapai County. In response to that, presented that these these activities that they are conducting, the touch-and-goes on these fields, when compared to what is being proposed today, the amount of buildings that they fly over is completely night and day different from what those other three that public were bringing up. So I was bringing it up just as a comparison point.
And Seligman, I believe the population there is 728 people.
Probably right, yes, sir.
Okay. So last night we had like 350,
Half of Seligman.
350 people.
Yeah,
So we had half of Seligman's population,
absolutely.
right? And you say there's less conflict.
With existing buildings.
I'm talking people. I'm talking people.
Okay, understood.
So there's more conflict in having this airport here than there is anywhere else. And they've also had, I believe it was a Board of Supervisor,
There was the Yavapai County
What's
Board of
his name?
Supervisors meeting. Chris Cucigno?
no, not Kootenai, the guy way down south, at the end of Yavapai County. Brooks,
Oh, Brooks Compton.
yeah. He wanted it in his town.
Okay.
This is the town that wants it. Okay, so I'm gonna move on. I'm making my point, I think. Let's see. So the development agreement, it says it will address optional matters not fully resolved through the CUP. So can you explain that to me?
Can you identify what page of the staff report you're referring to?
Pardon me?
What page that is on as part of the staff
That
report?
would be page 106. I got it here if you have a problem with it.
The agreement will address the optional matters not fully resolved through the conditional use permit process, including the definition of flights, operations, operational values, limits, monitoring, reporting requirements, mitigation, noise limitations, enforcement mechanisms. So this will be all of the items that come out as part of the resolution itself. Sorry, I keep thinking the mouse is down there.
This,
So it's all of the it's indicating that the development agreement, those conditions are part of number 16 here and all
So
the letters.
they're stuck with that. Here it says, why are they going outside the CUP?
Why are they going
says not fully resolved through the CUP. That means that there's outside issues.
May I?
Am I reading that wrong?
No, you're not. And I think
Okay,
it
thank
also
you.
speaks to what you were saying earlier, that and some of the community might also have that confusion, that there's two stages of this. So even if you approve the CUP, there's going to be a lot of details like, okay, what are the hours of operation going to be? That will come back to you in the development agreement. And then you can say, no, we don't like that. We want to change those. So a lot of the details. So even if you approve the CUP, they cannot move forward without, it says in their risk. They can move dirt at their own risk. But if a development agreement is not approved, the project cannot move forward.
That's my next thing. Okay, and do you give any other developer that leeway that you can proceed with permitting and construction of phase one prior to execution of development agreement? Do you give any other developer that leeway? If somebody comes to you and they want to do something, do you tell them, go ahead and start, and then we'll start the paperwork process?
So perfect example of that is Bright Star right now. They're grading at risk. So it is a common practice, yes, sir. They understand that they have a risk they're taking before they are moving physical improvements to a property, but they understand that it must be approved ultimately down the line with the final plat, such as the Bright Star. They
So
still
then-
ultimately have to pull permits, yes, sir.
What happens if it falls?
It's on them. They have to fix it.
They would have to, if the development agreement was never approved, they would have to cease and desist.
They would have to what?
Is that correct, Mr. Attorney?
Go on, Andrew.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, at risk means at risk. It means it doesn't vest any rights. It doesn't give them any opportunities other than what they currently have on the property already. So, if they were going to use grading for something that's already permitted on the property, if for some reason the development agreement doesn't go through, then, that is on them. That's not on the town.
Okay. I just never heard this before, so. Let's see, so when did we start about the conditional use permit on timing and all this other stuff? When did we start that?
The public process?
On what time they start in the morning, 5:30 to 11? When do we start
understood.
that discussion?
That is part of the development agreement, so it can be discussed tonight if there are certain parameters.
No, I mean in tonight.
Oh. Yeah, 16A.
So you would like to discuss item 16A?
I don't know if anybody else wants to have another discussion first, or?
Is there any further discussion on item 16A? 16A discussion?
We covered that during the joint study session already.
Heard it all.
You've heard it all.
Saturate, we shook the tree, the fruit have already fallen.
And that'll come forward again during the development agreement discussions.
Absolutely. So these are outlined as parameters. If there needs to be tightening, absolutely it can be done through the development agreement.
So I'm sure there'll be another study session, another public hearing.
So we don't discuss the 5:30 a.m. to 11:30 at night?
You can if you'd like.
Yes, I would like to.
Can I cover that? Lori? May I cover that? Sir?
So, yeah, Tom, I do have a question for you. Who's going to be in charge, Emery or Perkins?
Emory will be the leaser, and they'll be in charge of the flight schedule. And I know that a lot of people are scared by the hours or the numbers. Would you like me to explain those to you, sir?
Sure.
Okay, so let me get
Could
into.
you hang on a minute, Tom, so
Yes,
I can
sir.
find my paperwork?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I have a lot of paperwork. I don't like it. Oh, it's right here. You popped it up, huh, Aaron? Okay,
Okay, sir.
sure.
Okay, may I give you a few definitions first, and then I'll go into the numbers?
As far as touch and goes and all that,
Yes, sir.
I've heard that enough, so
Okay.
I'm not really interested in that because the touch and go is one,
Touch and go is 2.
is two, okay, so,
In a year, there'd be 40,000 touch and goes, which
Okay,
is
and
2 operations for
So-
each one.
one touch and go is a flight though.
No, sir. A
You changed
flight
that
is,
too.
is just
Okay.
one aircraft leaving Prescott all the way until it comes back.
Okay,
Touch and go is 2 maneuvers or 2 operations.
Okay.
So out of the 80,000, that takes you to 40,000 per year. If you divide that by 365, it comes out to 110 a day, average. Touch and goes.
can I stop you a minute?
Yes, sir.
Because then the average, the 3-year average
Mm-hmm.
will kind of like blow that out of water.
No, sir, it will not.
If you're closed for a week, bad weather for weeks or whatever, we have a
Well,
lot of wind here.
Can I explain it to you as a trucker?
You used that term before.
Well,
I don't think
that's,
so.
I, as an instructor, and I've taught for many years, I try to understand what you're familiar with and then explain it that way. So on a daily rate, let's say they're supposed to fly 110 in a
Okay.
day. A lot of people have conflated that number with 110 flights. That's not true. So each aircraft, one aircraft, can do 10 of those touch and goes per hour. The maximum in that formation, which you saw out on the demonstration, is 4. So in 1 hour, you can do 40.
Okay,
In 3 hours, your limit is done for the day.
okay,
Do you
so
hear that? So as
can I
the-
ask you why you need 18 hours then?
the 18 hours, as you saw, the early morning hours that you just brought up, are the dark hours that some aviators need a little bit, and it's from 0 to 5% of the total flying. 0 is probably what you're going to see most of the time. Most aviators don't fly at night. They don't have night vision goggles. Helicopters, like I fly, we fly a lot of night vision goggles. Ken, do you have any night vision goggles at Embry-Riddle? So what we call that Nighthawk.
What was his answer?
He says there's no
Okay.
night vision goggles.
Okay. He
So
shook his
there
head. I
are a
didn't
few
hear.
people, EMS trained with night vision goggles, obviously military do, but there's no night vision training for this. What the training is for is if a pilot gets trapped out as the sun goes down, that he can safely come back and land the aircraft. So you'll see one aircraft occasionally going out to do those late night or early morning flights. Most of the bulk of your flight will be late morning, somewhere from about 8 o'clock till 12 o'clock, a little bit in the afternoon, and then no more, because your 110 average is done. But as a trucker, if you were moving your load across America and you had a breakdown or you hit traffic, would you just stay on that delayed timeline, or would you add a few hours to your trip
Okay,
to
as
get
a
that
trucker,
done?
as a trucker, I only have 14 hours.
Same.
So,
You've got,
so I can add.
well, you
so,
can't
okay,
if you're going
well,
to push it. I'm sorry, sir.
I was listening to you. So
Yes, sir.
you asked me as a trucker.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if I have issues, my 14 hours are up, they're up. I wait till next day. Your average says that if you're down and your guy that you had at the Board of Supervisors meeting on April 2nd,
Yes, sir.
Emery's guy, he even said that if things are down, once they get going, you're going to pick everything up. You're going to make up time.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if you're down,
Then there's no aircraft at that time.
if you're down for a couple days, then you got to make up time, because he said you have to get your students from A to B at a certain amount of time. So
Yes,
you
sir.
are going to make up for lost time.
That is correct.
See, as a trucker, I don't make up for lost time. I wait till my 15 hours are up, and then I can go for another 14.
Okay.
So you can't use that as an example.
Then
I have an issue.
retract my example then, sir.
I have an issue with the 5:30 start.
And as I said before, very few aircraft will ever be landing or doing touch and goes at 5:30. Is there going to be? Occasionally, yes, because all the students have to have some nighttime, early morning time to get their qualifications. And part of that pays for the infrastructure. The $15 million investment is getting students out to do their landings. We'll mitigate the risk, we'll mitigate the noise as much as possible, but they do need the early morning landings occasionally. That's not much, from 0 to 5% of your overall flights. Most of them you'll see in the morning, you'll see some of them in the afternoon, and then it'll be done. But it is not 110 flights. 10 aircraft can easily do the 110 touch and go landings per day.
Per day, as long as there's no problems.
Of course.
But if they're down, then they have to make up for that time.
That's correct,
And
sir.
then we're going to come up to, there could be 150 planes that day.
Not planes, sir. You're conflating planes with touch and goes. So one aircraft can do 10 touch and goes per hour. So if you had 150 planes out there, you'd be running into each other. You'd have about 10 planes per day, maybe up to 15 if you were trying to catch up, but there's not that many students or planes available. So these numbers that people are fear-mongering with are just untrue. You just don't have that many planes available.
Okay, so can I bring up Clarkdale issues?
Absolutely, sir.
Okay, so you got Laura Jones, who's a councilwoman. You have, I can't pronounce her name, I think it's Guthier. She's the town manager. And then you have the mayor. I wrote down, her first name is Robin. So they're all complaining about Emery Riddle. And the chancellor over there, what's his name?
He is, Ken.
Okay, so.
Dr. Witcher.
He was there at that board of supervisor meeting.
He was.
And he tried to answer some stuff, and then somebody asked him, so how long you been here? And he said, well, 9 months. In 9 months, the issue has still not been solved. And the start time was 8 o'clock.
Can I give you the difference between the two airfields, sir?
Can I finish my little story here?
Yes, sir.
Sometimes I get a little
okay.
off track. So in Clarkdale, you changed the starting time till 8 o'clock. That morning, at the Board of Supervisors meeting, somebody did one of those apps with the flying things, and they brought it in at 6:30 in the morning. There were planes up in the air, and they weren't supposed to be there till 8. And this is the morning of the Board of Supervisors. You think they would have at least had that morning clear.
Yes, sir. I don't know about this specific instance, but all I can tell you is that I will try to guide this project to be friendly and to make sure that we can not have those issues if possible.
Okay, because, I'm going by what the councilwoman said.
I understand.
And the town manager. I watched that video. It's not hearsay. I watched it.
Can I explain the difference between the two?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so the Clarkdale Cottonwood Airport is a public airport. It is not private. It receives public money, it's on public land, and it is a public use FAA airport. On all the sectionals, it's listed as a public airport, so all general aviation, business aviation, and training flights are allowed to land there because they take public money. The difference is, with our airfield, is it's a private airfield paid for with private money, and it's on private land. So in order to, when that goes onto the sectional maps here in Chino Valley, it'll be listed with a PVT behind it that tells all pilots in general aviation that they are not allowed to land on that airfield without landowner's permission. That's me. So they can't come and land without that. And anybody landing there that I approve, I would go through staff and the council to make sure that was approved beforehand. So the other big difference in the two is that airfield sits right on 89A in the middle of Cottonwood and Clarkdale, right on it. That would be like me asking you to put this airfield on 89 right beside Safeway. You wouldn't approve that. Nobody would approve that. But that's exactly where that airfield sits, and people are still building around it, just like they're building around the Prescott Airport.
Well, I understand that. That's,
Yes, sir.
people build by an airport that's already there. That's on them.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I bought a house next to LAX airport. Okay? That's on me.
Yes, sir.
These people have houses, and we're building an airport by them. That's backwards. That's 100% backwards.
Well, sir, as far as this town and our property, this is on the very east side of the town. It's as far away from most everybody as we can possibly get. I think he showed a map that shows the Buddhist temple is approximately 1.5 miles away. Coyote Springs is approximately 2 miles away. Haystack is about 1.5 miles to 2 miles away.
Right.
So in the middle of our ranch is not on top of somebody's house. It's not putting it on 89 in the middle of town. It's at the farthest reaches of the town of Chino Valley. And the only reason that the town of Chino Valley has land out there is because it's been incorporated by my family into the town.
Right, 2007, I think it
Yes,
was.
sir.
Okay. So Clarkdale,
Go ahead.
they have
Sir,
issues.
Can he address the Clarkdale portion?
Sure, go ahead.
That's okay. So you're correct with the April conversation that happened there at the Prescott. Since then, I meet with the mayor, Robin, the mayor of Clarkdale, the mayor of Cottonwood, Ann, I think her name is. And I met with Nika Check, who's the county supervisor over there, and also joined us is Rod, who's the manager of the airport there in Cottonwood. We meet once a month. As a matter of fact, we're meeting on Thursday of this week, and any complaint that's come up between our meetings, we address at that point. And then if there's any concessions that needs to be discussed, we discuss them at that point. So I made it a point to meet with that city, the mayors and the county supervisor over there on a monthly basis now. And then since April, there's been multiple complaints as you'd expect. There's been 2 times that Embry-Riddle has deviated from the what we call a flight information file. One of them time we landed 3 minutes early, and another time we had a pilot that landed about 9 o'clock in the afternoon, which was outside the window. That pilot was dealt with through a personal information or a private personnel improvement plan, and then the self-corrected on the 3 minutes early flight. All the rest of the complaints on there we addressed, we expected, we validated, and if there was not a deviation from our plan, and now this is Embry-Riddle's agreement that we have, it's not this FAA. If anything deviated from that, I discussed it with the mayor and the city council and Nikki Check, the county supervisor, but I didn't address the complaints. If we broke a rule of one of ours 2 times since April, then we did address it with the mayor.
Okay, you understand, I watched that video, and
You bet.
nothing very nice was said about you. So, I mean, I don't know you, I've never had to deal with you, but I was listening to 3 people.
Sure.
3, a councilwoman, a town manager, and a mayor. And nobody had anything nice to say about you, Ken, I'm sorry.
Right. Well, I'm not.
And I don't want,
that, sir.
I don't want the Clarkdale situation to come to Chino. I mean, and who's going to be the one that's going to be fielding all the calls?
Well, right now with the Clarkdale, it's me. I take them and I address them. Well, they might call you before, but when we address these on a monthly case with the mayors and the county supervisor over here. That's how we handle it in that situation.
Okay.
If that works here, that'd be awesome. If it doesn't, we'll figure out another way to handle it.
When you come to Chino, Who do I call when people are calling me?
Well, I think it's set up in.
It's not set up. I don't know.
You're welcome to call me.
I don't think your response has been very well in Clarkdale.
So
I'd like to call somebody else.
Okay, that's no problem.
Can we just limit the questions to what's going on with the CUP, please?
Yeah, to me, this has a lot of issues with the CUP.
Okay, then that can be reflected in your vote or in further discussion when we get ready to do that. I think the misinterpretation with Clarkdale and stuff being the public airport where anybody could do things, and they are addressing the problems over there. I've talked to Robin and myself. They are happy with the way suggestions are going. They are not happy with the way things been in the past. But you got a public airport that's built in the middle of town, which provides a completely different sequence of events.
Okay.
So,
I wasn't attacking him.
oh, I understand, but most of what is gonna be discussed going forward will be in the developmental agreement, where we say, okay, we don't want you doing it at 5:30 in development agreement, maybe we say 8 o'clock.
But wouldn't that be in the conditional use?
For now, yes,
Permit?
but anything going forward is in a developmental agreement, which we can't even discuss right now, but it's in the future, we don't even know if this is gonna happen.
So we can't talk about the starting time and the ending time?
It's there for now in the CUP, and you have the choice of going with or against.
So there's no deviation. We can't say not 5:30,
This
8
is in the
o'clock?
resolution as I intend it for it to be written, right, Will? So, this is what's been brought forward by Developmental Services and Embry-Riddle and the Perkins family, and
So in other words, I've had my time and move on.
if you're done, sir, yes.
You didn't like the way this was going, so.
No, I didn't say that.
So who do we call then? Can I
So-
ask that question? Who's gonna be responsible for the complaints?
Sir, I'm ultimately responsible. It's my property, my project, and I'll field the calls. If you're upset, call me. I'll give you my number.
Okay, so you passed it on to somebody else that's gonna be in charge of the whole thing, I believe you said?
Well, I said that the lease will be to Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, but I am ultimately responsible for what happens on our ranch.
Okay.
So if you want to beat me up, sir,
Nah,
then
you're
I'll
you're
take
gonna
your
be in
calls.
Tennessee. I don't wanna go there.
I want to move here, sir.
Okay,
I want to move here.
all right.
Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
And Bob, just to clarify that, and as always, any event or any complaint that comes through the town, that's what the town manager's for.
So you're gonna take complaints for the airplanes?
I mean, we get complaints for anything that happens in town, so I wouldn't be surprised if they came in through our office. I would think we would anticipate putting some kind of a process in, similar to what they have instituted now since it's been working in Clarkdale, where we meet on a monthly basis. And whether that would be the mayor, the town manager, and the county supervisor, or however we want to set that up. But I would expect to have a regular meeting where we can deal with any complaints that come in. Yep.
Okay.
Councilmember Shacker.
Yes.
As a part of the conditional use development agreement specifically, item CC, the owner shall designate a representative to serve as the primary point of contact for the town regarding the airfield operations. That will be part of the development agreement, sir.
I read that part and I didn't know who was gonna be the representative.
Understood.
Okay. Okay. I'm done.
Larry?
Probably best answered by Mr. Perkins or Dr. Witcher, is if this is approved and opened up, will there be an increase in what's flying today? In other words, if you're flying 100 flights today, are you going to fly 150 once this is opened?
I want to get definitions down again. A flight is.
Right, I mean
taken
touch and
off
go.
the-
Let's go touch and go operations.
Touch and goes will remain, the 80,000 operations, which is 40,000 touch and goes per annum, and then the average happens over that rolling 3-year average. That will not increase. The airfield is designed by GMC for a total of 90,000 But what we've asked for is 80,000 operations per year.
Okay. And there was a lot of talk last night about pollution and lead poisoning, and I've done a little bit of research into this, but if the flights aren't increasing, or the touch and goes aren't increasing, either way, then that pollution already exists. It's not going to increase, is it?
I don't think so, sir. I think the airplanes are up no matter what, whether they're going to Seligman, to Cottonwood, or the other airfields. They'll fly over Chino Valley, but they won't stop here.
And the last one is on night flights. Last night when we got done, I went into one of the flight apps and I checked. There were 6 ERAU aircraft in the air when I checked at 10:30 last night. They're not doing touch and goes, though, are they?
No, a lot of those aircraft, there's different phases of flight. A lot of your night flying happens after the student finishes their cross-country training and their solo flight, which happens at Prescott. So a lot of the aircraft get training that's called instrument training. It's when they're flying off the instruments at higher altitude. A lot of times they do that at night because you don't have the visuals outside and you have to use your instruments. So most of those that you'll see at high altitude at night in Brittle aircraft are doing IFR training.
So when I noticed it last night, most of the aircraft were also heading out towards Seligman. Will they now be moving back over toward this strip, or will they still be flying towards Seligman?
At night or during the day, sir?
At night.
At night, if it's instrument training, they're not doing touch and goes.
So they're not gonna need to be near this
instruments.
airstrip?
No. If you're doing a night approach to this airfield, you would use a pilot-controlled lighting. Another misstatement last night is that there would be a rotating beacon going 24/7 at this.
I caught that.
It is not. That beacon is off at all times except for weather dropping below 1,000-foot ceiling, 3 miles visibility, which tells VFR aircraft that that airfield has gone IFR. You have to use instruments to land at that.
Perfect, thank you.
Yes, sir.
That's it.
Robert?
Okay. Number one, maybe Dr. Witcher or Tom or Mr. Perkins, one of you two. So back to the flights again, just to confirm. So
Yes, sir.
flights out of Prescott are at a certain number right now.
Yes, sir.
Have they changed in the last 2 months?
No, sir.
The average?
Oh, average?
Yeah, in the last 2
No,
months.
no, sir.
Okay. Will that number go up if this airfield's approved?
I don't think so, sir. I think you're just going to get them guided here for their touch and go training.
Can you bring up the overview of the Prescott airspace and the proposed airspace? So that left exit from Prescott's airspace, that's existing, correct? That's Prescott's exit of their airspace, existing
May I
today.
come over here and speak?
Absolutely.
So you're talking about this, sir?
No, I know that one is, for sure. That's their approach. Yeah, so if they're leaving Prescott airspace, that's ours exists, that's where they fly. They've been flying that route.
That's been worked out with the Prescott Tower, and that allows the flow of what happens.
Mr. Perkins, Mr. Perkins, will you actually use Terry's mic, please? Thank you. Nobody can hear you on the outside. So,
Yeah, the
okay,
folks at
thank
home
you.
need to hear you.
Okay, so what's been worked out with the Prescott Tower in their Class D airspace, which they control, obviously we are just outside the Class D airspace, what's called Class G, uncontrolled airspace. But Prescott still has to control the flow of those aircraft coming in and out for safety reasons. They control the altitude, the headings, the departures, everything. So as we were initially discussing how to get the aircraft flowed out here and circumnavigate the built-up areas, you were one that brought up having the aircraft fly over Granite Creek. Keeps them away from M.A. Perkins and Bright Star so that you're not interfering with those. So as the aircraft, you can't see the airport on this diagram, it's below. That blue area where the plane's coming down is the extended final for runway 21. As the aircraft take off from Prescott, they do a right downwind departure, which means they hit the downwind and they turn out to that blue area going to the north that you're talking about. That runs them right down Granite Creek, which keeps them away from most houses. The Scheibels live over there, and a few people in M.A. Perkins are on the hilltops, and my mom's house is on the hilltops. But that would put them out either going to the north to come out of Chino Valley, or as you see on the yellow corridors, turning into the traffic pattern to do their touch and goes at our airfield.
Correct. So it would be safe to say that with this airfield, there will actually be probably less traffic over Chino than there is today. Because now they fly right over Chino when they exit Prescott. So
They do, and
Or they fly
before,
right over-
there wasn't a whole lot of stipulation on where they went, because when Prescott kicked them out of their Class D airspace, it was uncontrolled, and they didn't want to have anything to do with them.
Correct.
So now with the touch and go airfield, now it'll be a lot more controlled on where those students and instructor pilots are going down those routes to stay away from the built-up areas and get safely in and out of the airfield. You'll see that they'll come back in and hit that extended, that long blue line that you see. That's where they'll hit to come back in.
correct. That's exactly the point I wanted to make. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
This might be a question for the town attorney. So this item really couldn't be legally put on, up for vote other than through a referendum. Is that correct?
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember, the town has a very limited number of things for which it can directly refer something to the voters. We commonly call it an advisory election. And you really have about 1 or 2 statutory opportunities to do that. And zoning and conditional uses involved with zoning are not on that list.
Thank you.
Can I ask a follow-up just on that?
Sure, sure.
Just for clarification, so what I heard you say is, based on the request from a lot of the citizens yesterday, put it to the voters, don't allow us to make the decision. And you're saying legislatively that's not allowed?
You don't have any statutory authority for that. The way
Okay.
it gets put to the voters is via a referendum on your decision.
Okay,
That's
thank
the
you.
mechanism.
On the, lead pollution, I think I brought this up in the study session too. So I read that there are available unleaded fuels now that are becoming available. That's really going to be up to Prescott Airport whether they bring in this fuel or not, or the FAA. It has nothing to do with Embry-Riddle or you
No, sir.
or anybody else.
No, sir, that is infrastructure. They're going to have to provide those fuels at the different airfields to get this Eagle program around 2030 implemented. But the refineries are going to have to make the fuel. The newer aircraft can burn the new fuel. Older aircraft cannot, so they're going to have to give a waiver for the older aircraft.
Correct. And I think Embry-Riddle replaces their planes every 4 years. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So that's pretty high turnover. And it would be safe to say, that if this airfield's not built, flying to Seligman, Cottonwood, Bag, wherever else, the planes are going to be in the air longer, burning more fuel than they would be if they're going.
They'll have the en route time, sir, yes.
More pollution.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think I'm done.
Sherry?
No.
John?
Oh, we've shook that tree. I have a comment later, but no questions.
Eric?
No.
Okay, any other discussion on this?
Mr. Mayor, may I sit down?
Certainly.
Thank you.
Might ask you to get back up again.
Make them stand.
Okay, no more discussion on it? Okay, does anyone desire to explain why or how they're going to vote? Bob? No, sir. Larry?
Yes, sir. Excuse me if I'm a little long-winded. I sat through 5 hours of testimony last night, so you guys got to listen to me tonight. This proposal's taken a great amount of time and effort from the Perkins Ranch, ERAU, Planning and Development Services staff, executive staff, council, and the public. I thank everyone, whether you're for this or against this project, for your time. I know that I've personally spent numerous hours researching some of the issues, and I can only imagine how much effort others have taken. One of the largest claims I've heard from the public is that this project will diminish the town's rural character. Chino Valley is currently comprised of some 62.5 square miles or 40,000 square acres. This project is 390 square acres or less than 1% of this town's footprint. The project is located at the extreme easterly boundary of town so as to have a minimum impact on the town or its rural atmosphere. This project also allows property owners to maintain thousands of acres of rural ranch land, something many other proposals have not done during developments. There have been claims that our wildlife will be greatly impacted by this project. Perkins Ranch has already agreed to set aside land for wildlife preservation. The ranch is comprised of some 70,000 acres of deeded and leased lands. In other words, the project will only impact 390 acres, leaving over 99.5% of the ranch open for animals. As the ranch will continue to operate as a cattle operation, the Perkins will continue to have water available throughout the ranch for wildlife. Pronghorn are kind of a fickle creature. They'll stand 30 feet from a highway while a semi-truck blasts past them at 70. I don't think airplanes at 1,000 feet are going to bother them, or even at 50 feet. Another topic is lead poisoning and pollution. I covered that earlier. Noise is relative. I moved to my current home 8 years ago. There were an average of 15 vehicles that drove past my home every day. During the last few years, there's been a lot of residential development. I now see up to 150 vehicles, not per day, but sometimes per hour. This is a major change in noise levels. I certainly didn't get told when I moved into my house that they could be developing all around me and I'd have all this traffic. But I've adapted to it, and humans adapt to all the noises when they get used to it. About the only thing that bothers me anymore are trash trucks and heavy truck and trailers, which still go by over 100 times a day. The point being is, we're noisier than we were 5, 10, or 15 years ago, and there's no going back. We're not going to get that back. So we'll talk, I also heard a lot about property values. In 2020, a new home in Deep Wells Ranch, directly next to Love Field and in their immediate takeoff path, sold for between $295,000 and $640,000. Today, those homes are selling for $500,000 to $750,000. And that's during the current economy and with the current interest rates. That's pretty good. I don't think they're losing a whole lot of money there. As a council member, I have to weigh various considerations such as landowner rights, potential benefits for the town, and potential disruption to others. We also have to be forward-thinking and be willing to consider what the future might bring. We are only considering phase 1. We have no guarantee that 2, 3, or 4 will ever be completed, and no further phases can be considered without additional hearings. ERAU has a long and storied history behind it, as does the Perkins Ranch. Each have been here for over a century. I find it, not here necessarily, but in operation. I find it hard to believe that Embry-Riddle would make a $15 million investment in a project that they were not confident would succeed. They have agreed to almost every ask the council has given them, including the potential new fire station. In closing, and this is very personal to me and I think to a lot of people here, Chino Valley is known for friendly people that come together. This proposal has made me rethink that belief. I've seen an awful lot of hatred during this process. There have been false statements, lies, and accusations made against the Perkins family, Embry-Riddle, town staff, and elected officials. Much is the same as happened during last year's solar hearings. Chino Valley residents are better than this. I'm not so sure about some of those that don't live in our town. And I honestly think you all need to spend more time fixing your own problems and leave us alone. Especially considering the fact that many of you live closer to the Prescott Airport than they do to this proposal. Thank you.
Hold it down, hold it down.
I didn't respond to you last night. If you want to talk to me after the meeting. Robert.
I was going to say some stuff, but Larry, you just said it all. Thank you very much. Very well spoken, and you took the words out of my mouth. I do want a couple things on record. Chino Valley is not Cottonwood. Cottonwood is a public airport. Within 1 mile of Cottonwood, there's 3,128 buildings. Within 2 miles, there's 4,961. That's 8,089 buildings within 2 miles of Cottonwood Airport. There's just zero comparison. Within 2 miles of this proposed airstrip, there are a total of 12 owners. One of those is the sale barn. No comparison at all. As far as noise goes, this is going to reduce noise, not increase noise. The flights are already occurring. This is going to put them in an area where they should be, away from almost all inhabitable areas. Roosters in my neighborhood, barking dogs, mine own. Cicadas in the summer are Talking about noise. This is a great project, great for Chino, great for the majority of residents, overwhelming. Thank you.
Sherry,
Nope, they've said it all.
John,
Yeah, wow. For like 3 months, I've had to keep quiet, and that's hard for me, as everybody knows.
go along with that.
Well, I started watching Facebook, and I feared that the community would think that I was allowed to have my own opinion, or anybody on this public body that we were allowed to have opinions, so we had to keep quiet so that we wouldn't show our cards. But I feel like we're in a game of Survivor. The vote's now to the other people. This comes down to competing interest. This is really basic. You got the public concern. A lot of what I heard last night, elegant, well-written, we got the letters, and I agree with a lot of the sentiment that was shared, a lot of it. There was absolutely valid points made by a lot of people, and I share in a lot of those. The other one is, I trust this lady Katie over here unconditionally with the report she gives us. This town has been around since 1970, and economic sustainability is a big risk for this town. I can't put an exact date on it, but we're only a couple years from having to cut services or capital improvements. We don't have much for capital improvement already. You think our roads are bad now, it's only going to curtail, and nobody on any council is going to want to cut staff, okay? So we have to increase our revenue to keep up with the cost. And everybody says, well, find another way to do it, find another way to do it. This town, unfortunately, has had a propensity for rejecting projects that could have put us in an economic position that we wouldn't be facing that. And I've been watching the trends. I've been on this council a little bit over 4 years, and I've been watching the trends very closely. And I bug this young lady all the time because I want to verify that what I'm saying is not hyperbole. And we are at a crossroad in this town economically. So if we do not make decisions that position this town for long-term economic sustainability, we're going to be in trouble. Now, I don't know if the unincorporated people would be willing to be annexed and put into a property tax or not to help us out, but we can't even get a property tax through. So we have to make decisions as a governing body. And if you look at that logo right there on that logo, the town's logo, it says, look into the future. That's the other competing interest. This body has been mandated, you elected us, or whoever was in the room that elected us, to look out for the long-term economic sustainability and put our town in a position to be economically sustainable. This is an opportunity. Are there risks? Absolutely. I don't know that Embry-Riddle, that in 3 years we're going to have a new president. And if we have one like we did the last time, you're not going to be investing a lot for a few years at least. I get that. There's a risk. But I think it's a calculated risk that this town needs to take to put us in a position and there's a bigger picture. If we say yes here, maybe others will see that Chino is now open to business. And that's a problem. Anybody who's done any research will know that Chino has got a history or a reputation of not being very business friendly. This council's trying to change that. And that is an absolute. The other one is individual rights. This is, Yavapai and Mojave County are like the last Sebastians of conservative thought. At least that's what they say. And I'm a native Arizona, born and raised, lived in Scottsdale, and I'm just going to say Prescott Lakes Parkway, SRP, the Roosevelt Dam, Central Arizona Project, Scottsdale Princess, Glen Canyon Dam, 89A, and the Scottsdale Municipal Airport. You know what those all have in common? They were all successful projects that had a lot of public resistance when they all went out. Even Prescott Parkway, just going up the road. 89A, when they were talking about it, there was a lot of resistance to those things. Can you imagine us not having those today? How would we travel? Change is hard. I don't like it. My wife definitely doesn't like it. So then the last one is, it doesn't take much to look at it, but in 2001, the town, then Mayor Dan Main, I think is it Dan Main?
That's right.
He made an arrangement with the Perkins. And if you look at it, some young lady last night read it out loud, and I forgot all about it, and I read it, and I called the town manager. Folks, for 25 years, the Perkins, the idea of having a runway out there has been in place. It was part of the pre-agreement. Having a runway was in the agreement that the town made when we incorporated them. Now, they tried to get it going in 2005, 6, 7, whatever, and they probably took some shortcuts and they got cut short by the town development or permitting. I get that. But the idea of them having a runway has been there longer than most of us have lived here. So we have, government needs to honor their commitments. And I'm a firm believer in following our commitments. And not to mention, doing what you want with your land, I'm not suggesting a laissez-faire approach, but doing what you want with your land is kind of the pillars of conservative values in this community. And if every single time we turn around, we're saying no, 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 but yet we're saying, yeah, we're Trump voters, we're conservatives. Well, you can't be, either you're in or you're not, and I'm a big fan, I'm not suggesting laissez-faire where we just don't have any regulations or mitigation or anything like that. So I think it's pretty obvious. I'm going to vote yes for this. That's all I have. Thank you.
Eric?
Well said.
Well, I do highly respect the Perkins and the whole family, but it's just not for us at the moment, the compatibility with our rural character. I own 8 acres off of Pilot Trust in Paulin, and I was sitting out there the other day, and I sat there and listened to these little planes, and they're probably a lot smaller than the planes you guys have, and it's annoying. It was really annoying, and I feel for the people that live right there, and I just couldn't do it, and that's why I had to change my stance. And I agree with you. We do need to grow this town, and my whole thing is growing Old Home Manor, but we could have started with RV parks, could have started with something else. We can't start here with this. This is just something that I can't vote on. So for that reason, I'm voting no.
Thank you. For my own comments, I want to keep them short and sweet. I was addressed last night is that you're not on Facebook, you're not paying attention. If you would like to come to my house and see the 562 emails that I have read and answered, or the 162 phone calls that I've listened to and answered if they ask for a response, you're more than welcome. I have paid attention. You've heard from every member of this council. There's 7 of us. There's 7 of us for a reason. We'll see what the vote entails. Any other comments before we do a roll call vote?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I recommend to approve resolution number 2026, 1303 for, I'm sorry, is that the correct one?
Yep.
1303 for conditional use permit, 202505, establishing a footprint for all phases for a privately owned and operated airfield and associated uses of approximately 390 acres, located generally east of the intersection of East Perkinsville Road and Forest Service Road 318A in Chino Valley, Arizona 86323.
I have a motion to approve on the floor with a second by Councilmember Phillips. Like a roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Switzer.
Yes.
Councilmember Holt.
Yes.
Councilmember Shacker.
No.
Councilmember Phillips.
Yes.
Councilmember McCafferty.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Grineal.
No.
Mayor Armstrong.
Yes.
5-2. Motion passes.
Thank you very much. Motion passes. We'll go on to item D, consideration and possible action to approve ordinance 2026-963, amending the Town of Chino Valley Unified Development Ordinance to authorize administrative personnel to review and approve preliminary and final plat without a public hearing as required by state law. Madam Lineberry.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. The state legislature gave us a gift that we did not want. They are requiring staff now to approve subdivisions. Before, the Planning Commission would review the preliminary plat. It would come to you for approval, and the final would come to Planning Commission and to you. And now you don't get to see any of it. Thank you, legislature. Staff does not want this, but we are forced to have it because the legislature changed the law. So starting effective January 1st, You will not be seeing subdivisions for review and approval. We are using, as staff, we're using the same process that we have set up when they did come to you. So we still do all the outreach that we normally do. We touch bases with all the agencies. We still give comments. We don't move forward until they meet all of those conditions. We will make a decision, and the applicant can appeal that. The appeal will go to the Planning Commission. And we hope that the legislature changes their position this year so that we can give that responsibility back where it belongs, is with you, the elected officials.
Questions for staff? Bob?
I do. How come you call it a zoning administrator?
That's just a title that I have.
Wouldn't it be a plat administrator? Because to me, you're talking zoning, it sounds like you want to take over zoning also.
I got it all.
Mr. Mayor, council member, the term zoning administrator is used because the state statutes that refer certain obligations to the administrative person in that role use the term zoning administrator. So we use it to parallel those.
It's a lot of words, just say because. Okay.
Larry?
I just want to publicly state that I'm 100% opposed to this. I know we have to vote for it because it is a requirement of law, but I think it is the most ridiculous piece of legislation I've ever seen. You and Will do not want this job.
No.
You aren't put in your position to represent the people, and this should have remained with council. Thank you.
Thank you.
Robert?
I agree with Larry, 100%. It's bad legislation. Mr. Town Attorney, is there anything that can be done rewriting our code to any way protect or get around this in any?
Mr. Mayor, council member, I certainly wouldn't give you legal advice to get around state mandate.
Maybe this is the wrong choice of words.
So,
loopholes.
But we have narrowed this as far as we think we can to try and be as broad with the council's authority as we can under what the state statute now says. But if you want me to show you some really bad bills, I'd be happy to trot out any of the 2,000 plus that have been filed in the last 2 weeks.
I'm sure there's more coming down the pike.
Sherry?
No.
John?
Just one, if we were doing a zone change of 10-acre parcel and they want to do 1 acre, we would see the plot there, right?
If they submit it at the same time, we'll show it to you, but you don't get to approve that.
Okay, thank you. I mean, I share the same sentiment that everybody's reflected, so.
Eric?
No.
Thank you very much. I will tell everybody that I have responded in writing to the powers that be down there, telling them politely that it's a bad idea. And telling them politely was a task for me. I had other terms I would rather have used. I'm going to open a public hearing. Is there anybody that would like to speak on this matter? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we hold a public hearing, or, sorry,
We did that.
sorry.
See, we're down.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 2026-963, amending the Town of Chino Valley Unified Development Ordinance to authorize administrative personnel to review and approve preliminary and final plats without a public hearing as required by state law.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. The motion carries. Item 7, Sherry.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None heard? We are adjourned.
Anybody ever said no to adjournment?
Yeah.